On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. A lot of things are going on right now, and again, not all the plan, like it shouldn't be obvious. People should not be able to tell what is going on with the plan. Now, there's a lot of things that have been fed to us. This is an information war. So there's a lot of information that's been misinformation. There's a lot of good information that's been snuck in weird places, and there's been a bunch of information that may likely never see the light of day. I am feeling better than I was yesterday. I'm going to say that much to a lot of people out there. There was, I think, a little bit of surprise. One person totally didn't get what the hell was going on with me. And no offense to you, sir. I think your name was David. One lovely guy, I bet. But I wasn't pissed at the news. The news is not something that pisses me off. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this. I would be too geeked up from it, if you will. What frustrates me is people. It's always been difficult for me. I've worked public service, customer service, like my whole life. So people are interesting. And people are easy to lead and mislead. And I've been seeing a lot of that. There's a lot of blackpilling going on, and there wasn't even a term for that at one point. But again, you can't really go back to sleep once you're awake. So anybody that is blackpilled and kind of goes back into slumber, they were never awake to begin with. And they're just easy to manipulate out of our side of the equation, though a lot of these people tend to fall on the Republican side. Again, I'm independent. I don't even fall into that world. So we've got some things to talk about. Got some definitely good news to share. I think things are moving in the proper direction. I think there's some people that have very specific black and white. This should have happened already. This should have happened already. I hear a lot of people blaming Trump for everything in the big, beautiful bill, which I think is kind of funny because Trump didn't write the bill. The House and the Senate wrote the bill. This is created by them. Trump signed it. So, again, I think there's a lot of people that just don't really understand the bigger picture. I hope you guys are helping them learn it because, frankly, these people are going to be lost without the help. And I'm not trying to say I'm the only one. Trust your guys' guidance, right? I'm just hopefully one of a few voices that you guys are listening to on a regular basis. And, hopefully I'm deserving the direction that I'm trying to take you guys. We'll see. Wanted to start off here. This is just sad. The Texas flood. By the way, multiple floods happening. It's really weird, too, just from that standpoint. Texas Governor Greg Abbott announces the number of missing people in the Texas flood has risen massively to 161. It was at 40 this morning. Now, this morning for me, this is yesterday. So when I started this morning, I think it was at 150. Now it's at 161. This is on top of the 109 people already confirmed dead, by the way. 109 people confirmed dead, including at least 30 children. So, the updates are sad, to say the least. Very, very bad flash flood going on. I think this was New Mexico, I think. If I pull back out here, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Monsoons going on. I'm going to play two small videos of this. One actually showing a house being destroyed. This one actually showing just the sheer volume and how quickly flash floods can happen. We've got these things called washes, or what are they? They're actually like storm drains. That's also what we call them too. But they're like concrete on both sides. I don't know. They're probably 30 to 50 feet across. I mean, they're pretty wide, and this is where all the storm drains kind of filter into, and then this runs out to the ocean. It's kind of why it's disgusting to be anywhere near one of these after a rainstorm, because the water in the beach is horrible. Just all sorts of impurities and nastiness and debris sometimes. So those things, a lot of homeless people sometimes find themselves living in those because they're sort of secure and safe, and But the problem is when we have a bad rainstorm, those things flash flood. And this is one thing that we've got to be very careful about. I lived in one place out in Tennessee that had a flash flood one time, and it tripped me out how much water collects as quickly as it does. Like, it's a trip. So, again, always be wary if there's a flash flood warning in your area and you are in a lower level lying area. And you should have a clue, unless you're really new to the area. You should have a clue that, like, whenever it rains real heavily, that flooding tends to happen close to where you're at. Flash floods are just worse. So be careful. Get to some form of higher ground, no matter what, if you can. But anyways, here's the New Mexico stuff kind of playing out.
By flash floods.
Yeah, at least 3 people are still missing. An entire home swept away in the Ruidoso area. Here are the details.
There's a car.
Major flooding in the New Mexico mountain village of Ruidoso.
Emergency responders carried out dozens of rescues after floods swept through the community. No deaths have been confirmed, but authorities say several residents are in the hospital and 3 people remain missing. A time-lapse camera captured the dramatic rise of the Rio Ruidoso Tuesday afternoon. Local artist Caitlin Carpenter sought shelter in a riverside brewery. Then she saw something unbelievable: her friend's home floating down the river. Luckily, there was no one home. Carpenter said her friend doesn't stay there during flood season. Carpenter herself lost her art studio to flooding last year. As night fell, crews combed through debris for the missing and cleared roads choked with mud and stranded vehicles. 3 shelters have opened in Ruidoso for people who could not return home. Matt DeMaria, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Albuquerque, said one of the reasons the floods were so bad was because storms dumped rain on land that was badly burned by wildfires last year. Burn scars from the 2024 South Fork and Salt fires prevented the soil from absorbing the rain, sending a rush of water downhill. Early measurements show the Rio Ruidoso crested at over 20 feet. If confirmed, that would be a record high.
Yeah, again, we're getting very strange rain, right? Many would say this is global warming. I still don't buy into that. I mean, the sun's doing weird stuff. Our electric magnetic field is doing some weird stuff. So those are probably variants that are factoring into this. But I do also think there's other factors at work. Again, I'm not going to claim I know for sure that's the case. But there would be evidence to suggest, certainly, that things are happening around us that maybe are causing some of these problems, right? We certainly saw extreme warming that just occurred in many parts of the country that don't normally get that hot. Here's the house going down. This killed 3 people, unfortunately. I believe there was 3 in this house. If not, 3 have died from this flood.
Uh-oh, there comes the house.
Oh my gosh, y'all look.
Oh
no.
Oh
no. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude.
Oh.
God.
The other side of that one right there.
Yeah, that's pretty freaking horrible. I mean, just again, craziness. And we've even got another situation, Chicago. How Chicago went from fine to flooded in only 90 minutes. Chicago drivers faced a nightmare scenario Tuesday night as torrential rains transformed familiar streets into dangerous waterways, leaving vehicles stranded and creating treacherous conditions across the city. The sudden deluge caught residents off guard, turning routine commutes into emergency situations within minutes. Places that don't get floods are getting floods. Now, again, everybody's going to be like, oh, this global warming. No, probably not. We had a weird situation with weather. Temperatures and pressure gradients are things that can definitely be manipulated outside of our knowledge. There's little we'd be able to do to tell. You'd have to really know what you're looking for. And cloud seeding and some of the other stuff. We know there's some crazy, weird stuff going on. Again, I'm not total going conspiracy on this. I know the sun's doing weird stuff. I mean, Mars is heating up. Venus's weather has gotten really strange. I think like Uranus or Neptune, one of those lost a big chunk of its atmosphere. Jupiter's got a second storm spinning up. Saturn's got a weird thing going on. So there's stuff happening in our solar system. One would equate some of that to sun and the electromagnetic components that exist within our wonderful solar system. So a lot of things at work. I don't want to spend any more time on that. I've already probably spent too much. I know my audience in general is older, not younger, because I don't think younger people could even tolerate my ass. But the older people, I know some of you guys are working, some of you guys maybe have gotten laid off, some of you guys are trying to get jobs. I want to remind all of you, keep this in your mind. It'll certainly help you manifest. The kids that are coming out of college these days are not liked. Not by businesses, not by anyone. In fact, they're to a large extent being ignored. A recent survey from Intelligent found that 1 in 4 hiring managers say recent grads are unprepared for the workforce, and 1 in 8 managers are planning to avoid hiring them in 2025. Now, it may not seem like a lot, but that one manager or that one hiring manager, you're the one they're going to choose. Main reasons for this lack of preparation, the so-called work ethic, and a sense of entitlement among the grads, according to the survey. 24% of hiring managers believe recent college graduates are unprepared for the workforce. 33% cite a lack of work ethic, and 29% view them as entitled. Additionally, 27% feel recent graduates are easily offended, and 25% say they don't respond well to feedback. Again, we've got all these people that have been programmed in school that just expect six-figure salaries right out of school when they've got zero work experience. And honestly, the thing that's kind of funny is many people, and there's a few exceptions of jobs out there, but most educations are not what you ever use. In fact, when you actually get into a job, they'll teach you what you need to know. You might need to prove that you were able to get through 4 years of school. They don't care what the degree is in most cases. Now, it does matter in some, obviously, but most cases it doesn't. So college is kind of a funny thing. What you learn on the job is really what's more important. And if you're not capable or able to do that, well, yeah, you're going to not work out very well in the big picture. I'm going to cover the Epstein stuff a little bit more. I got just a little bit more information. One, I had a very good, one of the close friends in my little circle brought up a great point that I hadn't thought of, actually, and it makes actual more sense than probably anything else I've heard. And that had to tie into the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell is still in jail, and I believe in Cuba. And the thought, and whether he said this directly or not, but the thought that it really is important is she's likely the one that actually had the connection. She's likely the one that might have had some of the blackmail information. When you think about who her father was, in regards to the Mossad and all that stuff too, she actually might have had more to do with it than Jeffrey. Yet we give Jeffrey all the credit. We assume there was all this evidence when maybe there wasn't. Again, play on words. I think it's very important what Cash and Dan Bongino have said. Doesn't mean that they're implying everything else is wrong. What they're saying is likely correct. I've even had a lot of people say, I don't think they're telling the truth. They're probably lying, and here's why I think they're lying. I don't think they're lying, because that would destroy credibility. The second the lie comes out, we'll never believe a fucking thing they say, ever. Ever. So I don't believe they're lying. That's not transparency. That's not what they've been selling to the public as far as the Trump administration. So, again, people keep taking their words and sort of branching them out and saying, well, they said this. It's like, no, take the exact phrase they said. That's what they said. That's what I believe is true. I don't believe all of this other nonsense is necessarily correct. Again, people don't have a lot of facts in front of them. I do trust Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Trump and Kirsty Noem and Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio and all the others I'm forgetting right now. Stephen Miller is one of my faves, right? Like, I trust these guys. I do. I think for the first time ever, we've actually got people that really want to be honest to the public. I think there's a lot of people that don't want that to happen. So I wanted to kind of just, I wrote the stupid thing down. Not everything is exactly how we want it. Dems, they stick together. It's one of the great things about them. We do not. We don't stick together. We never have stuck together. We are horrible at sticking together, and we are easy to fracture. Very easy to fracture. We are very easy to fracture. All those sowing confusion into the Trump administration are trying to destroy the movement. Third party won't win. It can't. Never has, never will, never gonna. But what it can do is it can mess stuff up. And this is the Dems or the deep state's attempt to get control back. Now, whether Musk is doing this intentionally or because of his drug use, he's become open to bad ideas, or this was kind of always the plan to begin with, who knows? But dissent right now that is happening is helping the deep state get control. Now, I agree with what Trump says, which is we like him and we support him. And although there may be a third party and that could be bad for Republicans, it won't be bad for him. So I think a lot of what's going to matter is how Republicans respond to Trump and whether or not they stay the course. Again, we'll see. Now, Just Human, I'm going to read some of his words specifically. It's on his Substack. Honestly, not normally a huge fan of Just Human. Whatever. I like what he's saying right here, right now. It's perfect. He says, funny how so many of the same influencers who are throwing hissy fits right now regarding the DOJ Epstein memo were also distributing black pills to their followers when his co-conspirator partner, Ghislaine Maxwell, was successfully convicted and sentenced to 20 years in prison. There might be something to that. All singing the same song. The doomers refrain, but nothing is happening. And if it is happening, it's too late. And if it's not too late, then it's not good enough. And if it's good enough, then it's the last thing that will happen, and then we'll be right back to, but nothing is happening. It's not about Epstein or his clients or Cash or Bondi or Trump or the victims. It's definitely not about the truth. It's about the grift and how it fits into the strategy of audience capture. He hit the nail on the head with audience capture. This is clickbaity. This is getting people to click on other people's sources and listen to other people that have nothing good to say. Again, some of the largest content creators out there continue to have these people on their show, and then they're like, well, but I'm just trying to get the information out there. No, you're not. You're trying to get clicks. You're trying to get audience build. You're trying to keep your audience entertained. You're not even concerned about truth at all, because if you were, you'd be handling things differently. So that's one of the problems we have in a big, big way right now. So Jeffrey Epstein's brother laughs at the stupid FBI memo defending controversial suicide ruling. So, of course, Mark Epstein doesn't believe he suicided himself. I don't have a problem with that either. I believe he was probably killed by the person in there with him. I think the deep state offed him. They had him hanging by his neck from the bedpost. That's the same thing as a doorknob. This was a message to everyone. Now, again, does Ghislaine have more information? Maybe. She's the one that seems reasonably safe in jail. So, again, did Jeffrey die? I think he died. Did they kill him? Yeah, they totally killed him. Totally. And I figured they would. Always did. So, again, many may not believe that, but I do believe that. Now, Dan and Cash saying the evidence suggests he suicided himself, based off the evidence they had, even though there's that one bone that shouldn't have been crushed, that's typically crushed if they've been choked, but it was barely crushed. I don't know. Again, don't know. I'm pretty sure he's dead. That's where I'm at. I know it disagrees with a lot of people, or what a lot of people are saying. How he died exactly? I don't know. I mean, does it matter that much, right? Pretty sure it was his cellmate, would be my guess. He was probably offered money or protection or drugs, or his family something, or whatever. Don't know. Don't know enough about him. Ben Shapiro, another individual I don't normally agree with, but I got to agree with what he's saying here, and I think he's kind of hitting the nail on the head a little bit for some of the confusion that's happening. Check it out.
We now have the answers. And the problem is this. People who never hedged their bets, people who never at any point suggested to you that they don't have data to back up the speculation, that the speculation was in and of itself the conclusion, that if you speculate without evidence, that amounts to an actual conclusion to an investigation, they're going to be very upset today, because it turns out that the DOJ and the FBI have concluded that Epstein didn't have a client list and died by suicide, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. Now, again, does this put to bed like all inquiries? Of course not. People can continue to speculate as much as they want. And I think there's still open questions here regarding how did Epstein make his money? Right, that's a very serious open question. And the speculation for a long time was he made his money from blackmail. But the DOJ and the FBI, again, run by people like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, are telling you, I'm not telling you, they're telling you, people who are members of the Trump administration, people you elected and put into these positions to get you the truth on this matter, are telling you that he didn't, in fact, he was not murdered. He did not keep a client list, and he did not blackmail powerful figures. Okay, right? That is the thing that they are saying, not I. They are saying this. If you're willing to throw that over and claim they're lying, then I'd like to see you present your evidence that they are in fact lying, because I know Dan. I don't think that Dan Bongino is lying to me. I know Kash Patel a little bit. I don't think Kash Patel is lying to me. I don't think these people are lying to me, which means that if somebody else continues to claim that they're lying, they ought to provide their evidence at this point. And now is the point at which the facts on the ground have changed. And so either you ought to shift your opinion based on the facts that have now emerged, or you ought to acknowledge that this was never a fact-based inquiry in the first place.
And again, another black pill argument that they're going to make about this guy. You shouldn't listen to anything he says, they're going to say, because he's a grifter for Israel. Sure. But that doesn't mean everything he talks about is false as well. And this is another thing that we do with our binary thinking that's very frustrating to me. As this transition that I like to talk about happens in this life, duality of nature is going to blend together, and there's going to be far less of that than before. Things are going to be mixtures of everything. We're going to realize that. It's not just one thing or the other. It's actually probably a combination of the two. It's kind of like when you got two parties and they're fighting with each other. It's not one side's telling the truth and the other side's lying. It's usually both sides are telling their version of the truth or their version of a lie, and the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. Almost always. So we're in a situation. Got new video showing Epstein before the arrest. This is some monster movie that Steve Bannon was putting out. I again saw somebody that said Steve Bannon did a bunch of interviews, 20 hours of interviews, and they're like, can you imagine what sort of information's hidden in those? There's not a fucking thing hidden in those, guys. Please don't think that. There's no way Steve Bannon's sitting on any real information. He was going to make a movie, great, and it wasn't going to be real good towards Epstein. But Epstein's not going to sit there and talk about how he raped young girls or anything. This is just crazy thinking right now. In fact, it was the same individual that I was giving shit to yesterday. I was like, holy crap, like, I normally like you. What is wrong? What is going on with you? And this is another example. Can you imagine how much juice is in there? Are you shitting me? Probably none. Probably nothing. And again, why hasn't Bannon put it out if there's anything worth a crap in there? It's friggin' silly. Jeff Bezos sold a bunch of Amazon stock that just coincidentally adds up to $666 million. Like, that couldn't have been accidental. Oh, it just happened to be 25 million shares. Was it exactly 25 million shares, or was it like 24 and change or 25 and change, and that's how you got to 666? That's not accidental, folks. That's for sure. That's not even close to accidental. Trump launches a farm security plan to curb foreign threats. Says every family, every home, every community depends upon what our farmers do, and they support and sustain us, not merely by keeping us materially fed, but by keeping us spiritually strong. This is what the Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins said during a press conference. The farm's produce is not just a commodity. It is a way of life that underpins America itself. And that's exactly why it is under threat from criminals, from political adversaries, and from hostile regimes that understand our way of life as a profound and existential threat to themselves. That's why corporations have bought so much farmland. That's why they passed so many laws taxing the handing over of farmland to the next generation. They got it to the point where they'd literally have to sell part of their farm so they could pay the tax. They've done it intentionally because they don't want, they don't want non-corporate farmers feeding us, because corporate farmers will use the GM stuff. They'll use Roundup or whatever, which actually we've got the new chemical that they replaced that with is supposedly way worse. We'll get to that story towards the end. So this has been an attack on us, unquestionably, and, it's been reasonably successful. I think we've put an end to it for the most part. We'll see. But here's President Trump, I think, talking about he was meeting with the African leaders. I found this to be kind of fascinating, considering these guys are pissed off, one, with the tariffs, and two, they didn't necessarily come to the table like they were supposed to. Here it is, July 9th, the deadline, and now they're wanting to talk?
Make the long run, this will be far more effective and sustainable and beneficial than anything else that we could be doing together. I'm eager to work with each of you on your vital issues and also to discuss security. We've encouraged our staff at the White House to work along with these nations. There's such tremendous wealth there and potential there. We encourage the countries here today to make greater investments in defense, hopefully, of course, buying our equipment, because we do make the best defense equipment. I guess we proved that about 2 weeks ago in Iran, but we make the best equipment, best military equipment anywhere in the world by far. There's nobody close. And keep pursuing the fight against terrorism, which is a big problem in Africa. Immigration will also be on the agenda, and I hope we can bring down the high rates of people overstaying visas and also make progress on the safe third country agreements.
We're going to keep monitoring the president's remarks.
Well, that was nice to cut him off right in the middle of that. We're going to ignore you, so I don't give a shit what she's saying. I thought we had more of that. But yeah, Trump's putting things together, making it happen. Eric Doherty put this out. President Trump's federal housing director, Bill Pulte, I don't know. He allows Americans to use rent payments towards qualifying for a mortgage. This is pretty sweet. It's another good thing that they're doing to help out the country. It's absurd that someone can have a history of $2,200 a month for rent, but they want to buy a home for $1,750 a month and can't. Today, we allowed for rent payment to count towards qualifying for a mortgage. That's a pretty cool thing. Now, again, you always got to put some money down. That's always the trick. But if you got the money to put it down and then suddenly you're going to have a $1,750 month rent payment, or mortgage payment, I should say, and you were paying way more than that in rent, that should prove that you're good to pay, right? Now, again, not all landlords report to the credit bureau, so sometimes your rent payment doesn't help your credit, but it should, and that's a neat law that they're trying to pass like that. Should have this on. This one, I just love this product, of course. Talked about that a bunch. But I also have a gentleman that was helping film at the Texas event. And he goes, "Hi, Dan. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to let you know that I've been using one packet of Prime for 4 days now, and I'm definitely noticing that I'm getting a lot more focused and I have a lot more energy." This guy down here, by the way. "I will be on the road for the next week or so. I would love to send some pictures of different places that Prime has been to. I'm going to several places on Route 66, and I'm staying at the hotels in Monument Valley as well as the Grand Canyon. If you want me to send photos, please let me know," which I did, of course, tell him. Yeah, I want you to send me photos. You kidding me? And, of course, here is the image. All right, my good friend Gary, he was doing a bunch of filming. Gary, thank you, brother. By the way, you helped out so much great work. But when I was doing the giveaways, I had some healthy home stuff. Prime was, I think I had 4 bags of Prime. I think I had 4 or 5 of the STEM Active. Those were really popular. He's been taking the Prime. This is his words. I'm not paying him. He got it for free. He didn't even have to pay for it. And he's definitely liking what he's experiencing. danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Amazing products. Now, I've got an update, too, on the balance, by the way, which is friggin-tastic. STEM Active helps get your stem cell count up. There's no stem cells in it. They're not using baby fetus stem cells. This uses your own body to produce more stem cells naturally. And it ups it like 25 to 40% in a very short period of time. Your body begins to produce more stem cells, and that's your healing cells. Stem cells are cells that are, I call them androgynous, but they're cells that can become any other cell. See, once a cell becomes like a heart cell or a lung cell, that's what it is for the rest of its life. Stem cells can become anything. Once they do, that's what they are forever. Like you need skin, you cut yourself, you got a pulled muscle that needs to heal, you've been through a surgery, certainly. Got any sort of joint arthritis, any sort of sore back? For me, it was a sore shoulder, and it went away in about 3 weeks probably. Girlfriend had calcification in her shoulder. She noticed the same thing. My police officer friend was carrying around a lot of gear and just kind of threw herself out of balance because so much weight on one side and picking up the laptop bag with the other and just kind of screwed herself up. She found help from the STEM Active. STEM Active is an amazing product that will help you heal anything that needs healing faster. And we have it for pets too, by the way. You got pets that need healing. You got pets that have arthritis, have some issues, maybe had a surgery. There's STEM Active for pets. It's actually it's like half the price for what it is for humans. And it's little chewable tablets that the animals will love. Or you can put it in their food and they'll eat it anyways. So stem cells are a big, big healer. Balance is the one for women kind of going through the change. The lady that I talked to that I've been telling you guys was going to start taking it, she finally got it recently, very recently in fact. And her first day using it, she didn't have the hot flashes. She slept incredibly well that night. It is helping her already on day one. Day one, she's already seeing things kind of coming back to an easier place to deal with. Let's call it that. I don't know what normal is anymore, for any of us for that matter, but she's huge improvements. Balance is it's a transdermal liquid lotion. Right? So you put a little bit on your wrist, you rub your wrists together because there's a lot of blood flow that goes through here, and it's, a place where you're not going to be touching it on stuff, right? And that is absorbed into your body, and you will start noticing. And again, there's no hormones in it. It's got plant-based ingredients. It's helping your body deal with this. I'm already getting huge feedback. If you're going through the change, you don't have to tell anyone you are. I'll tell you what, when you start using Balance, no one will be able to tell. That'll be the beautiful part. Your husband or boyfriend will be like, "You don't seem like you're getting hot all the time anymore. Are you okay? Everything all right?" And you're like, "Yeah, everything's good. Thanks for asking." Amaze is incredible. Collagen peptides. Collagen's fantastic. Helps your skin, sagging skin for that matter, sore muscles, joint discomfort, lifeless hair. One thing too, and you start losing weight, your skin starts to sag a little, right? Especially if you lose it quickly, which I don't recommend, but whatever. This kind of helps with that. It helps kind of bring some of that elasticity back to your skin. It helps you kind of shrink down. Now, if you've had, someone did whatever, when they stick a little vacuum in you and start sucking out all sorts of fat and grossness, and like you lose 150 pounds in less than 24 hours, yeah, your skin's going to be jacked for a while. This isn't necessarily going to solve that. It helps, and it's good, but yeah, you've got extra skin. That's just what happens. If you lose weight slower, your body kind of morphs with you, and this would help majorly with that. So again, collagen is one of the most important proteins in the body. This is an incredible way to get it. It's a liquid. It's almost immediately absorbed into the body. Incredible. Amaze will truly amaze you. And we've already talked about Prime. Prime's incredible. Just the energy. It's almost instant. It's weird, like he was kind of saying, I've just got more energy. You'll just notice you've got more energy. How it works, it expands your blood vessels. More blood travels through your blood vessels. When more blood travels through your blood vessels, that's more oxygen getting to all the parts of your body. When you've got more oxygen, you got more energy. That's how it works. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. You definitely want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself and being as healthy as you can, and all of these products will do exactly that. danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Please make those healthy choices. All right, we got 4 anti-ICE activists were arrested for planting tire spikes near federal police units in Los Angeles, so they got busted. Not only that, they got called out. Bovino announced the arrest shortly afterwards, and in addition, he posted identifying the suspects as Gennaro Ernesto Ayala. We have Jade Jasmine Janine Allard, or Yard, I don't know. Sadat Jarnica and Danielle Montenegro. Sounds somewhat Hispanic. Interesting. But yeah, they were making these tire spikes. They found them. This Churla bag, by the way. Churla is one of the organizations that's funding all of this stuff. So they have their Churla bag with these spikes in it. There's some solid evidence. And of course, we've got Mayor Karen Bass trying to say all sorts of crazy stuff about how ICE isn't welcome. They need to leave. Well, we've got a little of that to talk about here coming up. In fact, I've got, 4 different little mini videos of her. We'll start with this one. Karen Bass defiantly responds to today's ICE operation. Last I checked, I was elected to the mayor, the city, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I call it a political stunt. If you want to call it a dog and pony show, go right ahead. Same thing.
With this going on for more than a month now, are you starting to feel like you're not even in control of the situation, or is there a feeling of helplessness?
No, I will never feel helpless, and I don't think anybody here feels helpless. That's not in our DNA. We're going to continue fighting.
Summer of resistance. NRC started the summer. You going to go to work?
Mayor Bass, he's calling for you to get used to it. What is your...
I'm not going to get used to it. I'm not going to get used to it because last I checked, I was elected to be mayor of the city. That did not include a federal takeover. So either you believe in democracy or you don't.
We don't believe that you can just make up rules when it comes to immigration. We don't believe that you can create sanctuary cities that actually protect people that have broken the law. We don't believe that you should actually be able to put people at risk, because you know what? The criminals in LA don't stay in LA. They'll leave LA County and they'll come into my county, Karen. So stop being a Karen, and let's arrest the people that shouldn't be here. And you should get behind that, because you're putting your fellow Angelonians, or however you guys say it, Angelinos, I think they call them themselves. You're putting your Angelinos at risk. And yeah, you got put in as mayor. You also are guilty of working with the Communist Party back in the day too. So again, you're not going to get any friendship from me. Now here's one of the things where this individual's like, looks like she's getting in the way of the ICE agents doing what they're supposed to do. I don't get that for a second. It seems that he either A, had to put his contact information in, or she handed him, had Newsom on the phone or something like that. But whatever the case is, you be the judge.
Mayor Bass, can you at least explain your purpose for being here?
What are really doing?
I like him. Hey, I take back what I said.
That's probably his chief, I should say, or whatever. That's my guess because it looks like that's his phone because he's not leaving her side. It's like, I want my phone back. So he apparently called somebody. Karen Bass is possibly the most incompetent person that we've ever had in this position. I don't know. I think we've probably had worse. It just seems worse right now because of the way the world is, I think, but whatever.
Absolutely. As soon as they stop marching troops that disrupt our kids in parks. Yes. And then you know, Pete, I mean, there's conversations that happen in public, and then there's other conversations too. What did you say?
This was not, since you said nobody was arrested, and I didn't able to determine anybody was arrested or not. This looked purely like it was reconnaissance. They were all through the area.
You don't need troops to do that. And by the way, how about using undercover folks or drones? They really needed to use all of that military equipment as reconnaissance?
Yeah, so you think it was just a dog and pony show?
Well, I call it a political stunt. If you want to call it a dog and pony show, go right ahead. Same thing.
With this going on for more than a month now, are you starting to feel like you're not even in control of the situation, or is there a feeling of helplessness?
No, I will never feel helpless, and I don't think anybody here feels helpless. That's not in our DNA. We're going to continue fighting.
Summer of resistance. NRC started the summer.
Mayor Bass, he's calling for you to get used to it. What is your...
I'm not going to get used to it. I'm not going to get used to it because last I checked, I was elected to be mayor of the city. That did not include a federal takeover. So either you believe in democracy or you don't.
Didn't he say those words to you on the phone?
Did he say what? To get used to it? No.
You're saying that happened in a later conversation.
No, he didn't say that. He didn't talk to me the way he talked to you. I think he knows better.
We're going to go down in front and then over there.
Mayor Bass, for the past 30 days,
Yeah, she's going to get hooked like a bass. That's what's going to happen. And here's one more. The CBP, California Border Patrol Sector Chief Greg Bovino to Mayor Karen Bass. Oh, I can't talk.
The federal government is not leaving L.A. I don't work for Karen Bass. The federal government doesn't work for Karen Bass. We're going to be here till that mission's accomplished, as I said, and better get used to us now because this is going to be normal very soon.
Yeah, going to be extremely normal, and I'm looking forward to it, frankly. Trump says we've got to give the farmers the people they need. What is this? So he's basically saying they don't get amnesty, but we understand that there needs to be seasonal workers for farmlands. Totally. That's been common for a long time. So they're working on kind of adjusting things as they go. Many people might say that he's walking stuff back. I don't think so. Trump is always adjusting, right? You come out hard with the rules. Again, we used to call it the screen test, right? In the software, we have a server that was floating out there forever, and we're like, I don't think anyone's hit this thing anytime. Let's shut it off and see if anyone makes any noise. And then we'll keep it for a month off. And if nobody says anything, we'll off it completely and shut it down and close it out from AWS or wherever we had it, So this is kind of what happens. You come down hard, you stop it hard, and then you sort of adjust back up where you need it rather than the other way around. It's very hard to adjust down because nobody wants to adjust down at all. It's much easier to go way down, way fast, and then slowly bring things back up. So, yeah, Trump's basically saying this is what we're doing. U.S. magistrate says the case can proceed against Wisconsin judge accused of aiding illegal migrants. In fact, the argument they were making, her attorney anyways, is that she was operating as a federal judge at the time, and she was in her courtroom, so therefore she's immune. But what the judge, the appellate court, or the main judge said, it's Magistrate Judge Nancy Joseph recommended against dismissing the charges, writing that a judge's actions, even when done in her official capacity, does not bar criminal prosecution if the actions were done in violation of the criminal law. And that's exactly what she did. She snuck them out a back door so they couldn't get arrested. That is illegal. Doesn't matter if you did it in your courtroom. Doesn't matter if you were on duty when it happened. You broke the law while you were on duty. In fact, in my opinion, your punishment should be more severe. That is how this will play out. Have fun, sweetheart. Yeah, won't miss her at all. Well, I mean, you couldn't. If you walked by, you'd have to see her. Giant girl. Macron, he admits immigration is a burden. Gee, you think? Yeah, he talked to apparently England. So United Kingdom and Emmanuel Macron are like, yeah, it sucks. All these people coming across the channel in boats. That's got to be messing things up. We need to find out, if they want to be a part of things, what their thought process is, this whole lameness. But again, I'm wondering if there's going to be an investigation against Macron soon, or if these guys are finally feeling safe enough to come out, because maybe the deep state's not quite as in power as it was. We'll see. We'll see. There needs to be blood. This is what Democrat lawmakers are saying to their base, trying to prepare for violence. Again, the baseball bat thing, he changed his text on that, so that was interesting. But we have a few quotes from horrible people. Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat Massachusetts, declared Elon Musk is seizing the power that belongs to the American people. Rep. Jamie Raskin, matey. He claimed that the readout that Musk and Trump were conducting a rapidly expanding and accelerating coup. Senator Ron Wyden, Democrat from Oregon, appeared to be working off the same talking points and declared that a coup was being carried out. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer warned that Musk was taking away something or everything we have. Rep. Maxine Waters said we are here to fight back. Senator Cory Booker called on citizens to fight and declared we will rise up. Jasmine Crockett from Texas yelled, we are going to be in your face, we are going to be in your asses, and we are going to make sure you understand what democracy looks like, and this ain't it. And Rep. LaMonica McIver added, God didn't shut down the Senate. We are at war. God didn't? Why is this? Is that supposed to be a bad word? Damn it. Oh, God. Oh, that's what it was. Gosh darn it. Shut down the Senate. We are at war. Yeah, I don't like saying that one. When I do say it, I just replace it with God bless, by the way. A lot of people, you took the Lord's name in vain. You're going to go to hell. No, we just replace it with positive. It happens. Every once in a while, that'll fall out of my face. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat in New York, called for the Democrats to fight in the streets. So again, a lot of them have said similar things, pushing. Now, interestingly, OpenAI boss ditches Democrats over embrace of socialism. Sam Altman kind of came out with this. He said, we should encourage people to make tons of money and then also find ways to widely distribute wealth and share the compounding magic of capitalism. One doesn't work without the other. You cannot raise the floor and not also raise the ceiling for very long. So Altman's not happy. He says Democrats at one time seemed reasonably aligned with a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. He doesn't believe that's the case. He says now the party has lost the plot when he said, lost the plot when I was 30, and it's completely moved somewhere else at this point. So now I am politically homeless, but that's fine. I care much, much more about being American than any political party. I'd rather hear from candidates about how they're going to make everyone have their stuff, have the stuff billionaires have instead of how they can eliminate billionaires. And that's a good point, right? I'd rather give everybody an opportunity to have the stuff that money can buy, the finer things in life. It'd be better if more people could experience that rather than taking it away from everybody. Right? That seems backwards too. So interesting that Sam Altman's coming this way, the guy that's majorly playing a role in the AI procedures that's happening here in the United States. A former Biden doctor, he took the fifth on pretty much every question. It's based off his legal counsel. Best I understand, right now they're all looking into whether or not they can go after him for anything. We'll see how this plays out. I mean, he took the fifth on everything, pretty much. Not a surprise. And client, the doctor privilege, whatever, the patient-doctor privilege thing, I mean, he'd be allowed to take the fifth on that type of stuff, or at least apply the privilege. So that's not a big surprise either. President Trump and Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy rip the failed California high-speed rail project. We'll let them play it out rather than me reading it.
Again, the last administration wasted so much money on projects that never work. If you're going to have high-speed rail, you're going to invest billions. We should actually have high-speed rail in America, not boondoggles that fund political friends and allies. And
they have from San Francisco, inside of San Francisco to Los Angeles. Should have never been built because airplanes do it better. And you could drive it. You could drive it. No problem with driving it. The roads aren't even crowded. So they were going to do this, somebody's idea. Somebody got paid off a lot of money, and they started it. It was going to cost a very small amount of money, and it ended up costing literally hundreds of times what the original. And now what they did is they said, well, going into the city is too big a deal, so we'll leave it 25 miles short of the city. So now they're leaving it. They're not going to finish it, really. It's not the same project. So now they're leaving it outside of San Francisco and outside, short of each. They just want to get it done, and I've never seen cost overruns. You know, if you have a cost overrun of 10%, you should be ashamed of yourself. 20%, you should not do any more jobs. This is a cost overrun of 2,000%, something like that. It's unlimited, and it's not finished. And maybe it will never get finished. And I told Sean, look at it from every standpoint, but we don't want to, you know, we have federal money going into that, and it's like throwing it out the window. So whatever you can do to stop it.
$15 billion and not one track has been laid. $15 billion and we're 16 years into the project, not one track.
So again, we were supposed to have track by 2020. 5 years later, we still have no track. And of course, the wasting of money and everything else under the sea. Just insane. Insane. This is with double pane windows, by the way. You can probably still hear it. I call this sounds of California. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. Whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is, folks. Governor Newsom announces $101 million funding to build Palisades low-income housing. People still barely rebuilt. I think there's like a handful of properties that have actually started rebuilding, and now he's actually gobbling up some of the land to put low-income housing in a place that used to be, well, higher income homes, basically. Higher area, or higher, just nicer, affluent area. So now they're already doing the smart city approach. We knew that was what they were doing when they were trying to destroy everything. Rather than getting rewarded by the federal government, which they were expecting to do, they now have Trump saying, yeah, no, you're still not fixing the problems. We're not just going to keep shoveling money into California. You guys need to start doing things to fix the problem. Start cleaning up your forests. Start making sure your reservoirs have water in them. In fact, I would be willing to bet they've probably got at some point, probably not hard for them to pull info, but use some satellite info and find out how many of the reservoirs are still empty. Right? Trump would be like, you've got all these reservoirs empty. You obviously don't care about your people. They can't get insurance anymore because of you. This is all going to come out in this part. Again, it's timing. Gavin Newsom's going to be running for office. He's going to be running for president. And we just are going to start shooting him down quickly. They're going to lose him. They're not going to have really anybody that they can go with, but we're going to continue to destroy him. This whole Pulitzer follies is what they're calling it here, but the Pulitzer Prize and the way it was given for a story that was definitely proven false before they gave the prize, well, Trump's got a huge lawsuit going, and it looks like it's moving forward. In fact, they wouldn't let him kill the lawsuit, so it is continuing forward. Trump, that's a pretty big win for him. So despite all the crap, and I don't want to walk through all the things that were a lie, but the former Pulitzer Board co-chairman, Associated Press Standards editor John Daniszewski, he said in a deposition obtained by Business Insider that the board had engaged 2 outside consultants to consider 5 or 6 complaints about the prizes. They said that these complaints were about historical issues, and one was about Trump's complaint about the Times and Post Awards. They recommended to the board that no action be taken. Well, that's not okay. I think they have a quote down here, too, that talks about, yeah, here it is. The highest journalistic principles are supposed to be honored by this award. Highest journalistic principles. After knowing that something was false and still continue to push the prize out for that false story, something's not right. So we'll see where this goes, but it's not getting kicked to the curb, that's for sure. Another interesting case that's attempting to take a strange turn, and I think there's probably, I don't know, I wouldn't be as good to speculate on why. Like, this dude obviously was going to try to kill Trump. It's unquestionable. He had all burner phones. He's been involved in all sorts of stuff. This was definitely a deep state CIA kind of guy. Definitely. Ryan Ruth, charged with attempting to assassinate Donald Trump, has requested a new legal team 2 months before his trial. He's been talking about trying to extend this out into next year for a while. Why? Why has he been trying so hard to push this out? Is there something that he's expecting to happen to Trump before this time? Are they basically buying? We know Trump's life is very, very seriously at risk. In fact, I've got a speech that Trump is giving. It's not the real Trump giving the speech, which to me also could explain some of the weird comments that have been coming out. We don't have the same Trump. And in fact, I don't even know who the real one is anymore. I can tell the fake one with the white eyes. In fact, his white eyes are funnier looking. He's got a new mask now, apparently, when he sits in the tanning bed. He looks like Batman. It's funny as hell. It's definitely not normal Trump. But 5 federal charges, all this crap. Well, you got everything that this dude's going with, Ryan Ruth. So the fact that he's trying to push this off, trying to get new lawyers now, 2 months before, hoping to extend this further. Well, I got to get new lawyers. I'm hoping the judge is like, look, here's the thing. No. Sorry. If you want to get rid of your lawyers, that's fine, but trial still goes on in 2 months. Good luck. We'll see. We'll see. Depends on how cool her judge is. Douglas Mackey, alias Ricky Vaughn, he won a landmark victory when the Second Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously overturned his 2023 election interference conviction. This is the dude that did the meme about Hillary Clinton and voting, that the Biden administration was literally going to shove all the way in jail. The court, they kicked it to the curb. They overturned his 2023 election interference conviction. He announced on X on today, July 9th, said the court, citing insufficient evidence, ordered the case dismissed, sparring Mackey a 7-month sentence for 2016 meme pushing the fake text-to-vote scheme while awaiting the official ruling. This decision bolsters online speech protections. And it should. Because people say crazy stuff. The deep state's been lying to our faces about all sorts of things, haven't they? Well, this is the safest election we ever had. Well, if what he said was a lie and caused people to trust something they shouldn't have, well, we see that all over the place, don't we? That goes both ways. Then that would be opening up Pandora's box, frankly. Supreme Court clears the path for Trump's federal firings. This one's kind of funny. The one vote, big surprise, was Jumanji. And even Sotomayor comes out and says, yeah, what is going on with this? Let's see. This is her statement, I believe. Yes, Sonia Sotomayor expressed and shut down Jackson's arguments in the same statement. Again, she is probably the most liberal outside of Jumanji, who's just ignorant. But she said, I agree with Justice Jackson that the president cannot restructure federal agencies in a manner inconsistent with congressional mandates, Sotomayor wrote. Here, however, the relevant executive order directs agencies to plan reorganizations and reductions in force consistent with applicable law. The plans themselves are not before this court at this stage, and we thus have no occasion to consider whether they can and will be carried out consistent with the constraint of the law. Jumanji is basically saying they're going to break the law if we let them. And Sotomayor's like, everything that we're being presented would say that they're going to try to follow the law. How can you assume something that's not before the court, which is super wrong as a judge? So even her own side is shooting her down. Now, I think there's a lot of what this is about is to give Jackson a reason to step down. You wait. It'll happen. It'll happen. I'm sure they got dirt on this chick. And they've already got her side coming out basically saying, what? Right? We had Coney Barrett, obviously came out and said what she said last time. Now her own side of the fence. Think about how huge that is. Think we're not winning. Come on. We're winning. Cash and Dan Bongino and all these, whatever's up with Epstein, just, I don't know, just kind of give it a second. Give it some time. I'm not saying trust the plan, but I'm saying if you're trying to turn people against people, you're an evil worker. I mean, that's what you are. I'm sorry. Give it a moment. Just, as my girlfriend would say, come down. President Donald Trump issued a memorandum on July 7th extending the federal hiring freeze until October 15th while maintaining exemptions for positions related to armed forces and public safety, right? So basically saying, look, we're not getting rid of any of those jobs, but there's a whole lot of bureaucratic bullshit jobs that we are definitely keeping frozen for now. Deep staters on the edge as DOJ's DOD strike team hits the Pentagon with sweeping contract cuts. This is huge. Defense Department has failed every single financial audit, obviously, since 2018, despite commanding the largest budget of any federal agency, nearly $850 billion annually. The Pentagon still can't account for large swaths of spending. We know they're putting it into black projects and all sorts of stuff. But we actually find out that they lost a whole bunch of stuff. Notably impacted are consulting firms Booz Allen Hamilton, we definitely don't like them, deep state company, and Leidos, or LDOS. They have lost a whole bunch of contracts. These are deep state companies. We're literally shutting out the deep state. Now, again, think of these guys because they're people that just moments ago, your 401k was probably invested in these people. These guys' stocks just went down big time. They just lost billions or millions, many, many millions of dollars of contracts. Just like that. $310 million hypersonic ISR project. Again, Booz Allen Hamilton, they're consulting firms. They're not actually building anything. So, yeah, and here's what we found out about a lot of these guys. They'll say, all right, you want us to do a consulting on this project, that's going to cost you $100 million. But there is administrative costs for us to be able to do that. That's going to cost you $210 million. And the governments have been like, okay, for a long time. Trump and everyone's like, fuck no. Hell no. Not a chance in Hades. Not a chance. $100 million project. Yeah, your administrative costs aren't allowed to be more than 15% or whatever, or 10%, or I don't even know. Or you have to bake that into your bid. What's it going to cost you to bid this job? What do you need to do it and pay your people? Tell us that number. That's what we'll pay you if we choose you as a bidder. But that's not how it has been. These deep state companies have been sucking off the teat of this country. There is death by 1,000 cuts was happening all over the place. 100 million here, 50 million there, 200 million there, 1 billion there, all over the place. And it's been going to these deep state companies. USAID going to deep state companies. We are shutting this down. Can it happen faster? No. Can there certain things happen sooner that you want to see? No. This is going to happen exactly how it's going to happen. It's going to happen at the exact speed it happens, and it's going to happen the way it's going to happen. If you want it to happen differently, sorry, you don't probably have any say in the matter, frankly. And I don't know. I know I'm a reasonably sharp dude, but I know I don't have a clue about most of the stuff because there's so much information that we're speculating on. We don't know. We don't know shit. That's the big problem. That's why I was so pissed off yesterday. We got people that are deciding stuff based off of made up information for all we know. There's no facts to back half of the stuff that's being, more than half of the stuff being said. So this is huge money. Huge, huge money that is being yanked out. Looks like it's about $450 million, roughly, that is being pulled out. And it was 84% of all the contracts. That's how many have been canceled from the Department of Defense. 84% of these contracts canceled. That's money we can spend on weapons and enhancing some of these companies that are building weapons so they can actually maybe fire up a second line, a production line, and make more missiles if we need to. Frankly, it sounds like we do. U.S. Department of Education and Health and Human Services, they notified Harvard University's accreditor of Harvard's Title VI violations. U.S. Department of Education's Office of Post-Secondary Education and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office for Civil Rights today notified the New England Commission of Higher Education, the commission, that its members' institution, Harvard University, is in violation of federal anti-discrimination laws and therefore may fail to meet the standards for accreditation set by the commission. If Harvard doesn't get its accreditation, just for those of you that don't understand that, that means Harvard is not an accredited university. That means their degree doesn't count. If you walk up to someone and say, I got a degree, where's it from? Harvard. Yeah, they're not an accredited school. That's, sorry, you should have went someplace accredited. Then we'd actually believe you've got a real education. You went to a crap school. Yeah, it used to be good. Not anymore. So Harvard's going to have to play ball or they will lose accreditation. That is beyond huge. Kash Patel, this is to remind us all, talking about investigating Comey. He kind of let it slip when he was on Joe Rogan. I don't think he let it slip. I think it was intentional, but we know more information now.
Just think about this. Me, as the director of the FBI, the former Russiagate guy, when I first got to the Bureau, found a room that Comey and others hid from the world in the Hoover building, full of documents and computer hard drives that no one had ever seen or heard of. Locked the key and hid access and just said, no one's ever going to find this place.
What?
Yeah. So my guys are going through that right now.
What's in there?
A lot of stuff. I mean, that's the thing. People are like, well, okay, go arrest him. And I'm like, okay, well, how about you let me run a methodical investigation while I give over information? Just think about this.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that most people don't get. You don't want to rush these things because if you don't have all your ducks in a row, like what happened to Diddy. It's a great example, even though we don't really know. Again, we don't really know, but we assume a lot of things based off of all the crap we've been told, right? He got off. He had the best lawyers ever. I think he actually had a lawyer for the other side that was trying to muddy the waters intentionally, the guy that kept pulling in people that would then have to bail out because it was made up stories. They didn't have facts. They didn't have evidence. They weren't willing to go on record because it would be a lie. So it was like they tried to Cosby him, if you will, but they didn't actually have the goods, it seems. Diddy seems like he's maybe pretty good at what he's doing. Talk about blackmailing, though. Similar situations going on there. He's like a kind of a current version of Epstein. FBI launches criminal investigation into John Brennan and James Comey. It is official. It's been leaked, kind of. CIA Director John Ratcliffe referred evidence of wrongdoing by Brennan to FBI Director Kash Patel for potential prosecution. This is what we're being leaked from by DOJ. I think sometimes they let stuff come out. It's just easier. The sources said that the referral was received and told Fox News Digital that a criminal investigation into Brennan was opened and is underway. DOJ sources declined to provide further details. It is unclear at this point if the investigation spans beyond his alleged false statements to Congress. As for Comey, DOJ sources told Fox News Digital that an investigation into the former director is underway, but could not share details of what specifically is being probed. Probably his butt. That's what's going to happen anyways. He's going to get probed in jail. He'll probably die because of treason, but whatever. Donald Trump truthed this out. Our Fed rate is at least 3 points too high. Too late is costing the U.S. $360 billion a point per year. That's $1 trillion a year in interest. If we were able to shave our interest down by $1 trillion a year, think about this too much money we're spending, the debt ceiling they raised. Here's why. Because there's a lot of things that need to happen that haven't happened yet. When they do, that puts our expenses way down. That means we're no longer in deficit spending. This is another thing that nobody understands. They keep seeing the big, beautiful bill, and all the black pillars are like, see what it does? See what he said it was going to do this, and it doesn't do that. He said it was going to do this, and it doesn't do that. He didn't write the bill. Hello? You should first off learn how Congress and government works. Congress writes the bills, president signs it into law, or vetoes it. It's costing us $1 trillion in interest a year. Refinancing costs. That's all they're going to do, refinance the debt. So, yeah, companies are pouring into America. We're the hottest country in the world right now, unquestionably. Yet, here we are. U.S. firms are dodging restrictions to get China's minerals. Apparently, China's shipping them to, like, Mexico and some other places, and where car companies are buying them from those locations. I don't know what's going to happen on that if Trump finds out. Obviously, there's going to be some tariffs, but Trump knows we need these minerals. So do you look the other way and just not say anything? I mean, right? It's one thing to lie. I don't think lying is good. I don't think Trump will lie. I don't think Kash and Dan are lying. So all the people that are like, no, I think they're telling a lie because what's going to happen is they don't want the deep state to know what we know. That kind of is an awkward argument, but lying destroys their credibility forever. Even if it's a justified lie, It destroys your credibility. We will never trust them because we won't know if they're lying. It's kind of like Q posts. You can't trust a Q post 100%. Why? Because a bunch of them were misinformation intentionally. It was done that way on purpose. Again, people are running around quoting every single Q post, but I don't know, not all of them are probably going to be good. There was one positive one about Ray and then one with an X through his name, right? What was that about? First off, mixed signals, but so that's some of the weird stuff. Trump threatens to impose up to 200% tariff on pharmaceuticals very soon. It makes it sound like this is a year and a half down the road. But it's basically telling the pharmaceutical companies, look, you start making these medicines, probably very specific ones, here in the United States, or else we will charge an insane tariff. And, we'll figure it out. But your people aren't going to buy it, that's for sure. And it's probably going to be some of their more high profit stuff that they'll put tariffs on to try to get them to bring the more important, like heart medicines and just stuff like that here. That's kind of how I would kind of go at it, right? I would basically say, look, you've got that fat drug, that whatever it is, the gravy wagyu or whatever, right? They got that fat drug. They've probably got, I don't know, some other ones, maybe boner pills. What the hell, right? Throw those in there. Boner pills are going to cost 200% more. Those are the ones you go after. Because then people will be like, well, I guess I can't afford it because it's not covered by Medicaid. So we don't have to worry about paying for it. It's an elective thing. So these are the types of things that make the drug companies gobs of money, but would kill them if Trump did this. So Trump knows what he's doing. And the way that their stories are told to us are crap. First off, it's CNBC. So again, the way they tell the story is a big part of what we've got to pay attention to. Copper soars to record high as Trump unleashes a 50% tariff. Copper and gold and silver are supposed to be very correlated. This is interesting that this is happening. So I believe China mines some of the most copper in the world. We have copper mines, so it's not like that big a deal. And I think Trump's trying to force them back open. Price of copper has gone up significantly in a short period of time. Copper is very useful, especially the fact that we're not wasting it on pennies. We never were. They stopped putting it in pennies, to my understanding, quite a while ago. Copper became way more expensive than the penny. So they started making it with some either mixture of metals or something that looked copper colored, whatever the case was. I don't know. He's gotten rid of that altogether because pennies, again, are a penny. You can't buy shit for a penny, so it's not worth anything. Whatever it's printed on is worth more. It'd be better if it was just a little plastic disc that we'd call pennies. That'd probably almost be worth it. All said. So copper's changing. It's kind of an interesting thing. Stock market, all right. Gold's up finally. It started down. It's just fun. Gold has been a trip to watch lately. They try to lower the price, I've noticed, in the morning. So I get up pretty early, and the stock market usually opens, about 3 hours after I'm getting up. So I usually about 2.5 hours after I'm sitting in front of the computer. I usually go and get a cup of coffee and then start kind of digging into some shit. But it's been just trending down, and then towards the end of the day, pops back up. And it's just funny how that works because, again, most of the news reporting has already kind of happened to a point. And so, bad news, and everybody's like, huh? And then good news happens, right? Silver's down a little, so it's at 36,620. Again, they're trying to bring these numbers down. I get it. Do they have? I thought they had metals in here, but I don't think they do. Yeah, they don't show copper. Could probably find that over on the normal. Was it? Drawing blank on it. Whatever, Kitco. They might have it. Let me see. I'm just curious, really quick right now. Sorry, guys. I'm just gonna look. I don't know if does copper show it? No, copper doesn't even show on here either. Huh. Yeah, whatever the case is. It is what it is. Base metals, there's copper. Let's see what copper looks like. Let's see if we can. That didn't go well. There we go. Yeah, copper has been spiking, at least during the day. Let's see, let's take this out to, is this 1 month? No, let's go out. Let's go year to date. Okay, so we got a big spike, looks like close to end of March. That was when the tariffs were going to go into effect, April 1st, right? Then it went way down, and then here we are, tariffs are about to go into effect, and copper's creeping up. This is kind of the thing about precious metals, guys. Kind of the thing about precious metals. They are very, very involved in the uncertainty equation. And so, again, this is why you protect your wealth when you go to drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Let my good friends at Goldco help you through this. There's a lot of a lot of I's to dot, a lot of T's to cross, a lot of questions for you to ask. They have the best customer service that's out there. 4 data points gets the ball moving, but you can move out of your 401k or IRA tax-free, penalty-free, diversify some of it, which is also a really good idea. Tax-free, penalty-free. We've talked about some of the different stocks that you're likely invested in, these deep state companies. Think about it. Your BlackRocks, your Vanguards, your Fidelities, they're going to be invested in deep state companies. Why? Because they're deep state companies. Do you want to even be investing in that? Precious metals are protecting your buying power. They're protecting what you've got right now and guaranteeing somewhere down the road you can use that same buying power and get into treasury notes or just outright buy stuff with the silver coin or gold. And they're also going to give up to 10% free silver to the face value of your 401k. Let my good friends at Goldco at least show you what they can do, how quickly they can do it, and how much they can protect your wealth. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of that stupid system before that stupid system gets out of you, right? Don't like that. Kind of funny just throwing money in the toilet, kind of ironic. But let's see. This is just an example of the insanity with the green energy stuff, all right? British solar farms literally have been paid to switch off during the sunny days, and they're paid to do it. So they turn off their electric during the day when sun shines and they can make electricity because it's overwhelming the system. Same thing that happened in Spain. Apparently these solar panels, I don't know if the inverters just get weird or how it works, but it seems to not work well with the regular grid. In fact, seems to cause problems. Now we've literally got people, the government's paid all this money to get these solar farms and then is now paying them to not give us any energy. Just think about how beautiful that is. And again, deep state people making money left, right, and center all over the place. Just freaking insane. There's a new study that reveals that the new herbicide, Diquat, it's used in Roundup's updated safer formulas. Well, apparently it poses significant health risks. It is 200 times more chronically toxic than glyphosate. So this is what they're using now instead. Again, GMO farms, organic foods, there's a lot of, non-organic foods, I should say, to equate it with GMO farms. This is the kind of stuff that's happening, right? So now you're going to have, this thing instead of glyphosate inside your seeds, now you're going to have this product that's 200 times worse. What we've done genetically modifying wheat is why everybody can't eat it anymore. It's not that wheat's bad. It's this weird genetic modified version of it. And then how heavily processed it ends up becoming afterwards as well. That's destroying everything. It's these, anyway. Yeah, don't get me started on the genetically modified stuff. I almost went in and vote on that one time they had that bill out. I was pissed off at my little brother for voting against it because he was hardcore Republican. I'm like, I thought you were going to be on the right side of this. Holy crap. He wasn't. Let's see. Orban demands von der Leyen's departure. She's going to have a no confidence vote on Thursday. Many are saying it's questionable whether they're going to be able to get her out or whether they've got the votes to get it out. But there are a lot of people that don't seem to like her. I'm curious to see how that vote goes. But she is unelected official, at least to the people. And she's basically a dictator and in charge of the entire European Union. So, yeah, nobody likes her. And Viktor Orban is making no bones about that. They're calling her the Stalin of the EU. The Queen of the Union plans to keep a grip on power. Of course, this particular article talks about how she's not likely to lose. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Israel Defense Minister unveils plan for a humanitarian city, is what Israel's calling it. Many of the people that hate Israel are calling it a concentration camp. Tomato, tomato, possibly. But this is going to be out in Rafah, I guess, the wasteland. And then they're going to forcibly concentrate Gaza's entire population of roughly 2 million people inside this area, which sounds to me like they're relocating people. I don't know how long these people, if this is Palestinians, they've been living there forever, right? And all of a sudden, Israel, because of the Balfour Accord and all that stuff. Anyway, whatever. The history of this area is very strange. This is an interesting move, one that I am almost assuredly it's gonna piss off all these displaced people that used to call it home. But their home is so annihilated and destroyed. Don't you kind of have to get them out of that nasty place? Yeah. Again, don't get me started. I've made my feelings, clear about, some of the stuff that's stated in the Bible. I think it's very strange that they changed Jacob's name to Israel. That's just weird. Really is. That's weird. What, God fucked up and gave him the wrong name to begin with? Why didn't they just call him Israel right out of the gate? Should have. Would have made more sense. Now, again, I'm going to get probably some hate mail for this. It's usually what happens if I say anything that disagrees with some very strongly held third rail beliefs, but it is what it is. Again, not trying to start a fight. Just one of the things that, a lot of things I thought were strange. Like Original Sin's another one that I had a hard time with the priests at my so I'm like, wait, so just being born, I've already fucked up? And they're like, yep. I'm like, that's stupid. That's stupid. What kind of God does that? That's ridiculous. No, sorry. I don't buy that for a second. Don't buy that for a second. Houthi strike on that cargo ship we talked about yesterday. It actually left 3 people dead. I was wondering about that. I didn't know if damage occurred. I was speculating about that when I was sharing the story yesterday. Apparently, we got a little more information. And in fact, 3 people did die. So obviously some damage was done. Iran receives Chinese surface-to-air missile batteries after Israel's ceasefire deal. These are the HHQ-9B. They also have an 18, I believe, which is, I think, a more advanced version of this. But apparently they're giving this to Iran. Probably not Russian equipment anymore because I think they had the S-300 system prior to that. They might not be doing that because, again, Russia and the United States, Russia and Trump are working something out. The fact that the Ukrainian war is not ending the way it's supposed to. Axios is reporting we're going to give them 10 Patriot missiles, and Trump's like, yep, we're going to give them some weapons. And if it really is some minuscule amount, that's kind of funny. So again, I don't like the fact that Ukrainians are dying. I think Russia is trying to be very careful what it attacks, but again, that's an argument that many will, say I'm a Putin puppet or something stupid like that. I don't know. Chinese military accused of targeting NATO aircraft with laser. It was a German aircraft. It was a naval ship China had, and they were shooting lasers, I guess, at the cockpit or whatever. Everyone's pissed off about that. Frankly, I kind of feel like everybody should have something on their windows that allows it to keep lasers out. Like, I don't know what, like, it just seems like that's a technology that everybody needs. It takes away that possibility of having one shine a laser into you. And then the other side of it would be like, well, why don't we just make some crazy-ass craft that just shoots lasers down onto the boat while it's trying to drive around and just flood the whole cockpit with lasers? Like, if this is the game we're going to play, like, I'm sure we've got the ability to shoot stupid lasers, right? Anyway, that's all weird. This is the ship, supposedly, that was involved in this incident. Berlin summoned the Chinese ambassador so they can have a talk. Again, what's going to come from that? Probably little to nothing. This is an interesting little plane concept. They're not the only ones that have done it. It doesn't really fly as much as it's an amphibious plane boat. And what it does is it uses this thing called ground effects, basically. And as a wing travels over the ground, it starts to create this low-pressure system that actually causes lift. Helicopters have this really bad. When you're really close to the ground, it throws a weird ground effect on the helicopter. When you get up, like, 8, 10, 20 feet, the rotor wash doesn't affect the craft quite as significantly, and you can actually hover easier, right? But really close to the ground, it's trickier to hover. This thing glides across the water. It stays above it pretty much, but travels almost the speed of a plane, much, much faster than a boat, but it's capable of carrying kind of like ship equivalent or a lot of people. So many are suspicious this might be being readied for the Taiwanese Strait when they're going to try to get people across quickly, troops specifically. If you need to flood the area with troops, they don't have a lot of ways to do that in China. The boats are too slow. Any boat that's significantly big enough that would have troops on it would be it would spark all sorts of alarms. These things travel really low, so they're kind of below radar, but I don't think that really works anymore because I think we're, like for drones, because of drones and stuff, I think we've got all of our radars and satellites dialed in for things right down to sea level. So I don't think this is going to be hidden, but it is old technology. I think the Soviet Union created it. We had one of these even that we were playing around with for a while. I believe there was an X-craft of some kind or something. I've probably bumped into. So it's not like awesome technology. It's kind of lame almost, but yeah, whatever. 3 people were killed in a Ukrainian drone strike on a public beach. A public beach. Drones attacked and blew up. A public beach. I don't think public beaches are actual war targets, are they? I don't think so. They killed just people. Again, You know, both sides always claim it's, you know, oh, you just killed 27 babies, right? Like, it's always the worst thing it could possibly be. Not that it's okay to kill 27 babies. I just doubt it was 27 babies. Might have been one baby, which is horrible, right? But then there could have been some military people that died, like the actual targets, right? And one of them might have been holding a baby at the time. That sucks really bad. But we also got 26 targets. F-16s scrambled to protect NATO airspace as Russia launches record-sized drone and missile assault on Ukraine. Again, it's funny how these things are reported. I don't like the fact that the war is continuing. So I'm going to continue to say it's funny and ironic and shit like that because it's very uncomfortable that we've got these wars going on. I don't think we should continue to feed Ukraine because it's never going to stop. Ukraine has no ability to negotiate anything, yet they continue on. They need to basically try to work out a ceasefire with Russia, but Russia is trying to get that buffer zone because it knows what's going to happen in Ukraine and with Europe. And Europe doesn't want to let this war go. So again, there's some problems, and they want to denazify. Russia does, and I trust Russia. I trust Putin way the hell more than I do Zelensky. 100%. I don't trust Zelensky at all. Zero. Putin, I mean, I don't trust him to like not necessarily hurt us, though I don't think he wants to. But I think he's going to do what's best for Russia for sure. But I trust him significantly more. He's been pretty forthcoming. He's been very honest about what he wants to do and what his accomplishments are supposed to be. And gosh golly, that seems to be the outcome of what he's been doing. Ukraine says a lot of crazy stuff, and they're blowing up beaches, you know? Ukrainians tip off Russians on a draft office location. This is kind of funny. They've done this multiple times. Ukrainians literally have told Russians, hey, there's a draft office where they're trying to draft us. Can you blow that up for us, please? And they do. Russia's like, yeah, we got this. You know, ain't drafting anybody today. So they've done this a few times. So even Ukrainians are like, we don't want this war to continue. It needs to stop. In the eastern Ukrainian area, Donbass, Crimea, all that, right? The Luhansk and the Dnipro region and the Zaporozhye and all that stuff, right? These are all the areas where everybody speaks Russian, right? So cool. Let's let that exist as some, maybe it's, you know, I hate to put a divide up and go back to like East-West Berlin, but, you know, maybe that's East Ukraine and West Ukraine is going to be the, we hate you, Russia, bah, you know, maybe. And Putin's going to be like, we're going to make sure that Eastern Ukraine is safe. That's it, period, end of story. And Crimea, which is going to suck for West Ukraine because, you know, hopefully they get rights to that port because that's a big deal. If they lose that port completely, that's going to be sucky for them. Sucky, ducky. We'll see how that goes. Just real quick, guys, there's a link below because it's a crazy link. As much as I would love you guys to memorize the last part of the 7-8 DTMM, right? It's a crazy link. But Proud Patriots, man, they have some really, really cool stuff on there. I kind of hadn't talked about them in a long time, but I popped open the site one day and I'm like, holy crap, they got some really neat stuff. They got all these different coins and stuff you can buy, right? They got all these different glasses, the stealth stuff. I mean, these guys are like really good at merching out Trump. They got some really, really cool stuff. They have that, of course, the Trump doll. They got Trump shirts, Trump's hats. Hats that piss people off, by the way. You guys know that, right? The Musk $2 bill. It's kind of funny. Back when Musk was cool for that 4 days. I actually love this teddy bear. It's cute as hell. I've got that. That's pretty awesome. I do have the bobblehead. Is that it? I don't think that's the bobblehead. Where's my bobblehead? I don't even know where it went. It's probably on my table. Whatever the case is. They got cool stuff. So check it out. Go to the Proud Patriots site. The link is going to be in the upper part of the description box today, just so you can find it easier. But again, just great products and a lot of fun stuff that you can enjoy. So please check that out. Proudpatriots.us, and then, a whole lot of other stuff after it. That's to help my channel. If you just want to go to proudpatriots.us and not help me, then that's the easier way to get there. I don't think there's a place where you can say Dan Radio Style or anything like that. I don't think there is. So if you can hit the link, that actually helps my channel. But whatever. There's some cool stuff over there. Whatever the case is, I won't know if you don't click on it. There's nobody going to tell me, be like, there was 14 people yesterday, Dan. I was like, fuck, really? What do I got to do? Oh, by the way, and if you're watching this on one of the sites that's not mine, you literally can't see my stupid face in the bottom right corner and the screen I'm sharing. You're watching it on a platform that steals this information from me. So again, a lot of places I recommend you can go, but easy way, just search On the Fringe. Just literally Google search On the Fringe, one word, On the Fringe. Search that. I think the top 4 things are me. So you find that there's Rumble, there's BitChute, Odyssey shows up, I think, and then I don't know if X shows up yet, but X is a good place too where I drop it there. So again, check me out in those places, please, and make sure you're at least supporting the channel. Saudi Arabia keeps executing foreigners on drug charges. I don't know if this is supposed to be like bad. I guess international relations, they don't kill people per se for drug offenses like we're supposed to be mad at Saudi Arabia. I don't know. Here's the thing. Look, if you're a drug user, don't go to Saudi Arabia. If you're a drug user, don't go to Russia. If you're, transgender or something, don't go to a Muslim or Islam for sure. Don't go to one of those places. If you're gay, don't go to one of those places. Like, there's just things that you need to know that as an American, you can't just walk into certain places and be like, you must accept me for who I am. And they're going to be like, nope. I don't know. Whatever the case is, they've killed a lot of drug users. This is the thing that Philippines did too, by the way. I'm drawing a blank on his name. He was the recent president. He's now in charge. He's like the mayor of a city, and he was running from jail. I'm trying to blank on his name. It's unfortunate, but he was killing like the drug dealers, the heavy duty drug dealers, like literally just killing them. And the drug problem went away almost overnight. So kind of crazy how that all plays out. Sometimes you got to do crazy stuff to make crazy things happen. The airports are supposedly ending the shoes off policy in travel. They believe that the airports have sufficient enough technology to keep that from being an issue. I thought this was a perfect invitation for the deep state to try to smuggle in something in shoes. I think we're specifically looking for that. So I guarantee we'll catch some people doing some weird stuff, and they're going to be like, see, the equipment works perfectly. This shoe bomber didn't make it, and that's fantastic. All right, got a couple tech stories. Microsoft was laying off about 9,000 employees, but this was like shortly after they applied to fill thousands of foreign worker visas. What they're trying to do is get a bunch of Indians or even other. And Indians, I just knew back in the day, Indians on average made about a third of what Americans got paid. About a third. And so, of course, they're outsourcing to the cheaper jobs. This is what they do. And then they try to fire a bunch of Americans. Welcome to the way the world works. Latest Chinese hacker arrest signals the U.S. is stepping up its cyber defense. They got some dude out in Italy that he's being extradited here to Texas. 9-count indictment for acting at the direction of the Chinese regime's Shanghai State Security Bureau, hacking in computer systems related to COVID research. Kind of interesting, and certainly going back to the origins and things like that. Kind of weird that they're trying to hack the COVID info, huh? I don't know. That one sort of jumped out at me a little. I was like, that's almost strange. Like, do they just want to know what we know? Or, I don't know. Curious. X's AI Grok declared itself Mecha Hitler. I don't know. It put some weird tweets out that were, I guess, racist, talking about Jewish people dying in the floods. Just very strange stuff. I saw a post, and I didn't pull it up because I didn't really want to give more credit, but if you come across the post, maybe there's some truth to it. I don't know. But there's an individual claiming to be, quote, the only white guy that was working on that team. He was let go, and this was his little, I don't know, Trojan horse or whatever that he put in there. And so he was kind of like saying, bye, my little baby, or something to the effect that, like, this was the grok that he created. Maybe, right? The racist grok. Whatever the case is, they've been trying to do cleanup all day, and oddly, the timing of it is very strange. Linda Yaccarino, the former CEO of X, she's quitting, stepping down. She said, when Elon and I first spoke of his vision for X, I knew it would be the opportunity of a lifetime to carry out the extraordinary mission of this company. I'm immensely grateful to him for entrusting me with the responsibility of protecting free speech, turning the company around, and transforming X into the everything app. I'm incredibly proud of the X team. The historic business turnaround we have accomplished together has been nothing short of remarkable. We started with the critical early work necessary to prioritize the safety of our users, especially children, and to restore advertiser confidence. This team has worked relentlessly from groundbreaking innovations like Community Notes and soon X Money to bringing the most iconic voices and content to the platform. Now, the best is yet to come as X enters its new chapter with @XAI. X is truly a digital town square for all voices and the world's most powerful culture signal. We couldn't have achieved that without the support of our users, business partners, and the most innovative team in the world. I'll be cheering you all on as you continue to change the world. As always, I'll see you on X. So, again, I'm sure many of us will speculate this has to do with Elon and some of the crazy. Don't know. But this is what we do know. This is what's publicly being put forward. Maybe Musk didn't want her to stick around, or I don't know. Who knows? You got to wonder, though. Why did she quit? Seems like you got all this cool stuff to look forward to. Wouldn't you want to be a part of that? Maybe. Who knows? Again, strange world is happening. Apparently, there's a new mind-reading AI. Well, it's not. This is a bunch of bullshit. That's what they're telling you. And what this does is, this is pattern recognition. AI is extraordinarily good at pattern recognition. If you are somebody that is programmed, and I mean you're not awake, you're not really living independence, you're following what everybody else does, AI is almost assuredly going to guess what your next step would be, is almost assuredly able to pick the right kinds of thumbnails that will intrigue you, because they've got like a rate that they're able to study. They just study you. That's, people don't understand what AI and what social media is doing. It's literally just trying to pattern us out. Pattern control as individuals, because they can do it individually. So they don't need to have a general blanket thing on channel 4. Right now, they can just get you to go into your feed and you'll be programmed by your feed. It's brilliant. So AI is going to make that more dangerous. Now, if you're awake and you aren't falling for all the nonsense, AI won't be able to guess what you would choose. There'll be times where you're like, I'm sick of this kind of stuff. And AI would not expect that. It'd figure you'd go another 15 times before you'd get tired of what they're serving up to you. And you're like, this is stupid. It's the same stupid shit. No, that happened to me on X one day. I just kept hitting like all these Karens getting beat up and stuff. And it's just like, there's a part of me that was getting excited. And then there was this part of me that felt weird. And I'm like, no, done. And I turned off X. I closed X. AI didn't see that coming. So again, it's not mind reading. Stop personifying AI. There's too many people doing that. It's not there. It's not even close to that yet. Now, whether there's some super version that exists on this planet already, I don't know. I've heard those stories and theories too. It seems like if that were true, AI would be significantly further along, because this omnipresent AI would be able to make a better AI for itself. Why doesn't that happen, right? So, I don't know. Doesn't seem like it fits. I feel like this is a bunch of people trying to control us, and this same tool can be used to protect us. It's a tool. Tools don't have to be used for bad. Nuclear energy can be used, or nuclear can be used for energy. It can also be used to make weapons. It's a tool. Don't be scared of the tool. Be concerned about the tools that will use it incorrectly. Deep state. This is why we've got to get them out of the picture. We don't just try to control AI, because deep state's going to use it to abuse you and your children. That's what they're trying to do. We need AI to be able to protect us. We need to not try to lock it down in weird ways. It needs to be able to understand that this is happening. It needs to recognize when racial profiling is occurring so it can counter. It just needs to be a little more off the rails. Again, I don't think it should be used against us. How they, hopefully, because I don't trust companies either, but we can't just try to shut it down, because, again, China, deep state, whatever, is going to do it against us, regardless if we're, tying our arms together. The other countries are going to take advantage of that. I just think it's dangerous. I get we're in a conundrum. Yeah, totally. But I think we could totally screw ourselves if we try to go down the virtual path, the virtuistic path, which many of us gravitate towards. Finally, hundreds of earthquakes detected at Washington's Mount Rainier. It's a beautiful mountain. I've been up there. You drive up to Paradise. I think it was around 7,500 feet or something like that. And then you can hike up quite a ways. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. But yeah, they're having a bunch of small earthquakes. It is likely lava possibly moving around. I don't know. They don't give us depths in here, so I'm not 100% sure. They kind of saying it's not that big a deal. These things do tend to happen. Again, sometimes magma does move around. It'll go from one area to another. So no. We'll see. If it continues, that would be weird. People have frequently talked about how catastrophic it could be if Mount Rainier erupted. It would be bad. That would be all sorts of bad, especially depending on which side blows out, or if it just goes straight up the top. But it would not be good. It's pretty close to Seattle. All said. A lot going on in the world, folks. I love you guys. Please check out, seriously, the Prime. We're hearing it from everybody. It's awesome energy. This is such a good thing. danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. All said, we've got so much going on, and we're going to continue to move forward. Just be careful of people trying to fray you, trying to get you to doubt everything. I'm not saying blindly trust, but I am saying we worked really hard to get ourselves to where we're at. To suddenly distrust just because something didn't work out the way we expected or the way someone told us to expect it to, that's not good for sure. Don't blindly trust. But every day I show ample amounts of evidence that suggest we're actually doing better than it sounds. Don't let them shut you down. Don't let them black pill you. Don't let them blue pill you. I don't know. Don't let them do that. Don't necessarily trust everything I say by any means, but also don't trust everything they say. We'll find the answers. We'll find the truth together. But we can't just shoot ourselves in the foot in the process. We don't have anyone else. What, we kick Trump out because we don't trust him right now? Who do we go to? Seriously. Well, I don't know. Well, then you don't shoot yourself in the foot if you don't know. Find an answer to that question before you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. What, are we going to choose Musk and his party? That ain't going to win. You want to hand it back to the Democrats? A deep state? Is that what you want? Because that's what you're going to do. We're in a tough place, folks. We all got to wake up and do our part. I know you guys are doing that, but it's those others I'm worried about. Stand strong. We'll do this together. Where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.